Good morning to you out in YouTube land. It's a great day to be alive. It's quiet, my neighbors are all asleep, and I can come out and putter to my heart's content and not bother anybody. I went to a little ham flea market the other day and I got a hold of this is a Heathkit dummy load. It's I believe it's an HM31. Like always, the tops of these, if they have any, these are what they call a wet dummy load. They're cooled by they got either transformer oil or mineral oil in them, and they're usually kind of a gucky mess. If you're going to buy one of these, some things to watch out for is you may want to take a voltmeter with and a resistance meter, ohm meter, and check the resistance of that. There's a big power resistor inside there, which I'll show you in a minute, and check that value. Sometimes they change dramatically if they've been overheated. There are 3 models of this. I believe this is the oldest. This one was probably built in the 60s. There's a newer one that has some nice silk screening and stuff on the side with the power rating and how long you can run the thing. These are rated at a kilowatt, but they're very intermittent, and the rating changes a little bit depending on what oil you have in it. And if you get a hold of one of these, my suggestion is you treat it very gingerly until you get familiar with what's going on. There's also on the top is a little vent. You can see that or not. There's a little tiny vent. It's just a little plug on a spring. And this is the input connector. On this model, there's a little tiny, I don't know if you guys remember this or not. Maybe the new people won't, the older people will. These were Bud work boxes or snap boxes. And there's actually some circuitry in there. There's a couple resistors and a diode and a little cap. And there's not a lot to see in there. I'd be more than happy to show it to you, but it's pretty disappointing. Sorry about that. To be really blunt, there's not doodly squat. This camera doesn't there. And there's not. This is probably a really, I bet this kit barely took an hour to assemble. Although it was probably a fun kit. If you're unfamiliar with Heathkit, they made kits, and you just bought the parts and and assembled them. They had things as little as, this is pretty minimalistic. They used to have radios and all sorts of stuff. They had stereo equipment. They had a TV. I remember a friend building a TV. I also remember him troubleshooting it quite a bit. I built a couple Heathkit things over the years. I remember building I think it was a code practice oscillator and a function generator and a oscilloscope and some other things. Anyway, there's a third version of this which is very minimalistic. All it is this is a gallon paint can, and on the third version it's red and black. It has some nice silk screening, and this connector basically just bolts right in the top, and they eliminated this. This is set up so you can hook a voltmeter to this RCA jack. And how about we move up a little bit so we can see. And you could interestingly enough, there's no graph or anything that shows what the voltages would be for the different powers you'd put into this. And I think it was rated at 1,000 watts for maybe 5 minutes continuous, but it was like 20 minutes of off time. I don't know. I just thought I'd show you what this was about and what was inside. Let me zoom out a little bit. Like I said, this is just a paint can. If you're going to buy one of these, a couple things to be aware of. This may actually have transformer oil in it, and it may be the old, potentially dangerous kind with PCBs in it, used to read about. So I would treat it real gingerly. If you spot one of these, I would ask the owner if they have a bag, and I would just bag it up. Me personally, every time I go out and I'm think I'm going to run into one of these, I usually have a trash bag or a big zip top bag in the car or truck, and I just drop that baby right in there and seal it up and treat it like a hazardous waste. Anyway, if you pop this open, all that's inside is this shield, and inside the shield, that running out there is actually, that's mineral oil. It's too thick to be transformer oil. And underneath here, there's the resistor, that cylinder inside the cylinder, and then off to the side, there's the spring-loaded vent. And there's a lot of gooey transformer oil raining off, or excuse me, mineral oil raining off of there. One of the things to look at too is if the owner will let you, is to pop this open and peek in there. If it's got kind of a brown looking oil, it probably is transformer oil. Transformer oil being old transformer oil from pole pegs or high voltage transformers on poles. If it's brown, you may not want to screw with it. It's up to you. I suggest that you bag it up and be careful with it. And when it comes time to get rid of it, I would be very careful with it. So anyway, that's all that's in there. There's a little insulator and stuff. That's what do I say? Kind of that stack or that funnel helps the oil circulate in there. As that resistor gets hot, the hot oil goes up the stack and goes at the top, and it kind of circulates it or vacuums it through the system. And then if you overheat the thing, the relief valve kicks in. Like I said, this one has mineral oil in it. I've managed to get mineral oil everywhere. If you bring these home and you're going to work on these, I knew ahead of time that this had mineral oil. I would strongly suggest you don a pair of big rubber gloves and get some old clothes on, and you may want to put some safety glasses on and put a face mask on and have a source of water and soap near you. If you want my real advice, don't screw with those transformer based ones. They're kind of like asbestos. If you don't screw with them, you'll probably be okay. The owner may or may not know what kind of fluid's in there. A lot of times they don't. They just, don't know. If you're going to shop for one of these, one of the things I would look at is how many dents are on the side. This one has a few ripples, but nothing big. There's a little tiny dent there, nothing big. For how old this is in pretty good shape. The other thing you look for is if you can get the owner to let you peek in the bottom of the thing, is look on the bottom around the inside rim of the can. What happens is condensation can collect in there depending on where they've stored this at, and the water will settle to the bottom and it'll rust out the bottom of these things, and you might be in for a rude surprise one day. The other thing you can do is peek at the bottom, pull the thing up in the air and look at the bottom. If you see any rust on there, it might be a red light to just leave it lay, unless it's $1. I think I paid, I didn't pay very much for this one. Actually, I see a lot of these at estate sales where the person was into CB radio at one time back in the 70s, 80s. They were probably running illegal high power linears. There's no reason to have a 1,000-watt dummy load for a 4-watt CB radio. So I see a lot of these at those kind of sales. I really like the two first generations of these. The older style one is kind of neat just because it's pretty old. The second generation one I really like because it's got nice silk screening and they're a little newer. The third generation with just the coaxial connector on the top is, I don't know, it's just all it is a can with a resistor. They're a good property to have if you're rebuilding one of these. That resistor can be kind of expensive. They still make that resistor, you can still buy it, but it's expensive as hell. So these are pretty good property to have a hold of. I've gotten a number of these over the years. Usually what I do is I clean them up and dump out the dangerous oil if they have transformer oil. Not all transformer oil is dangerous. There are some synthetic versions that aren't harmful, but you don't know that, so unless you're really familiar with the different liquids and stuff in there, I would treat that stuff very gingerly. Little caution. And there's nothing to go wrong with these. I mean, you might find a bad connection or a bad solder joint if somebody didn't know what they were doing. This one looks pretty well put together. It's possible those resistors could be out of tolerance. There's nothing special there. They're just quarter-watt resistors and a little disc capacitor. Well, hang on a sec here. Anyway, I'm gonna shut you off here for a minute while I go do some chores. I'll be back. Well, we're back. Let's see. Let me try and remember what I was talking about. I don't even remember now. It must not have been terribly important. Like I said, I usually clean these up and kind of refurb them. I've given or sold a number of these over the years to friends that needed them for their radio. And they're kind of a fun little project to play with. They're so simple that there's nothing to not understand. And I just thought I'd make a little video just for fun to show one, and we'd have a little chat. So that'll get you going. Somebody didn't even barely screw the screws in this thing. Some of these also have a little blue kind of tin Heathkit. There was a decal or a sticker that, I don't know, showed what it was. Might have had the model number on it or something. This one doesn't appear to have it. Like I said, actually this came with a book. There was a book. It's about 3 pages. There's nothing to see. The book was apparently $1. I don't think anybody ever really put those screws in that snap box. Yeah, maybe that one. Where are we at here? Come on, get in there. There we go. There we go. We'll just put that baby back together like we care. There. Ta-da. Yeah, I'll set that off to the side. Okie dokie. Well, if you have a question or a comment, feel free to leave it. If you'd like to join my channel, that'd be great too. Take her easy. Have a good time.